Module 2, Equipment, covers the following topics: placing equipment and adding nozzles. The first topic in Module 2 is placing equipment. We'll look at placing horizontal and vertical vessels in both the plan and elevation views. On our ortho menu bar, select the Equipment tab. We'll see horizontal vessels and vertical vessels. Select the vertical vessel and a dialog box appears, allowing us to select first of all the orientation, whether or not we want the plan view or the elevation. We can add center lines, and we can specify the head type, 2:1 semi-elliptical being the default. If we want to draw an elevation view, simply click on the Elevation tab, grays out the plan view information, and allows us to put in the information for the vertical vessel. So all this information needs to be known and would come from a vendor data sheet or equipment sheet. Let's take a look at the horizontal vessel. Select the horizontal vessel. Again, a dialog box appears, allowing us to select the orientation, plan or elevation, select the head type, and then whether or not to add things like the supports or boots. Again, the information would be required and would come from equipment data sheets or the equipment vendors. So let's look at placing the vessels in both the plan and elevation views. Before we place our equipment, we'll add a match line border. So we'll take a look at our Line Types tab and select the Limits border line. We'll pick a random starting point and we'll give it a distance of 32 feet by, say, 20 feet by 32 feet, and then back down 20 feet. This represents the area limits or the match line area, and then we'll place our equipment inside. So we'll have a vertical vessel that I'll place down in this corner and a horizontal vessel that we'll place over in this area. Back to our equipment, we'll select the vertical vessel. For the center point, we can just click a point over here somewhere. We'll set the value to 24 inches. For the radius, add the base radius. We say 30. Once the values are set, we can say draw vessel. And the vessel is drawn. So we have our 24-inch radius vessel and then our 30-inch radius base. Let's now place the horizontal vessel. Select the horizontal vessel. We're in the plan view. We'll use the default 2:1 semi-elliptical. Diameter on our vessel, we'll use 46 inches. Seam to seam length, we'll say it's 11'6". Do we want to add the supports? We'll say yes. We won't worry about a boot on this one. Select the draw vessel. And now it asks for our vessel supports. So our seam to center distance, so this distance right here, say 24 inches, say 2 feet. The thickness, we'll say is 8 inches. And the support width, we'll say is 2'6" or 30 inches. Say OK. Pick the start point of the vessel, so we'll just come over here somewhere and pick a point. The direction of the vessel, and our vessel is placed. Now we'll look at placing the equipment in our elevation. So the first thing we can do is draw just a normal line, AutoCAD line. We'll consider that to be our grade line. We know that the equipment, it's an orthogonal drawing, so we need to extend line, and this is just AutoCAD lines, just coming straight down to represent the starting points of the equipment. We can select our vertical vessel. This time we'll do an elevation view, so we'll select the elevation. Now we can go in center at grade, so we can digitize this and pick up this intersection using our object snaps. And then we can add the information. So this would be known information from our data sheets. So the base height, say, is 12 inches. Base radius is 30. Outside radius, 24. The skirt length, 36. And the seam to seam length for this vertical vessel, we'll say is 14 feet. Enter the values, and then click Draw Vessel. And the vessel is drawn in the elevation. To draw the horizontal vessel, pick the horizontal vessel, elevation view this time, outside diameter, seam to seam length, and we click on Draw Vessel. The seam to center, 24 inches. Support thickness, we said was 8 on the first one, and then the support height, we'll use 30 inches or 2'6". And somewhere along this, we can place our vessel. So I'll just pick the midpoint here, and we can move this after. The vessel is drawn. It's a little high, but we can always use our move command to move it down. We can also include concrete piers or steel framing for the vessel to sit on, and we can just use the AutoCAD rectangle command. And we can move it from midpoint to midpoint and then copy it over, just using AutoCAD's modify tools. We can even use things like the Match Properties tool to select a concrete foundation and change these to concrete. And then erase our construction lines. And there's our plan view, vertical vessel, horizontal vessel with saddles. And then our elevation, south elevation with our vertical vessel and then the horizontal vessel. Next, we'll add the nozzles. The last topic in Module 2 is adding nozzles. So once we've placed our equipment in both our plan and elevation views, we can then place some nozzles on our equipment. We'll zoom up on our plan view and place the nozzles on this view first. First, we'll set our spec and our main size and our line number if required. We can then select our flanges tab and then select the nozzle tool. Take the default weld point and we'll place it on the quadrant of our vessel, and then for the direction just pick to the right, then ask for a nozzle projection. We'll use 8 inches and then click OK. The nozzle is placed. We can do some AutoCAD trim tools to clear out the base underneath the nozzle. On our horizontal vessel, we want to place a flange or a nozzle coming off the top of the vessel, which in this case would be a flange in the plan view. We can pick the flange in plan view tool, select our pipe size, we'll leave it at 4 inch, say OK. Pick the center of the flange. We'll just do a little reference distance here over about 12 inches. And then we'll add a full circle. And a full circle is placed. So there's the 2 nozzles, one off of our vertical vessel and the one coming straight up from our horizontal vessel. So let's add those same nozzles on our elevation. Select the nozzle tool, do the vertical vessel first, set it back to the weld point, and say OK. Pick the end of this vessel. We'll just put it in here because we can move it later on. Again, the same 8-inch projection, and the nozzle is placed. And then we'll just move that nozzle up, and let's say it's 12 feet up. And there's our location. On our horizontal vessel, we can place another nozzle. Again, the weld point. We want to come over again 8 inches. This time we'll go straight up, and we'll use that same projection of 8 inches. And there's the nozzles placed on our vertical vessel and our horizontal vessel. We're now ready to do the piping for the drawing. This concludes the topics covered in Module 2. Please review Module 2 or select the next module.